I used to hate hard work so much that I would do anything in my power to avoid it. Scrolling, playing video games, spending time with my family when I know I should be working. That was a while ago, and now things are a lot different. I enjoy working, I enjoy doing the hard work so much that I literally have to stop myself from doing it. I'm serious. The other day I was writing the script for this video and I had to stop myself from writing the script so that I could go to sleep on time. And there were 3 major things that helped me actually achieve this change. Number 1, a vision. I know it sounds extremely wishy-washy and woo, like, oh, vision, but I'm telling you, it's one of the most important things that you can do as a man, because as men we need some sort of a goal, some sort of a North Star, some sort of a mission, purpose, vision, whatever you want to say, to accomplish in the future. We need something to work towards, and a vision is exactly that. And this vision needs to be meaningful to you. Not to me, not to society, not to your parents. It needs to be meaningful to you. Because if it's not meaningful, then you're not going to work on it. Then you're not going to want to put in the hours, put in the work, put in the effort required to actually achieve this vision by the grace of Allah. If you have a vision right now, but you aren't working towards it, it simply means that it's not meaningful enough. Trust me, it was the exact same thing with me. I had a vision, I thought it was meaningful, but I just wasn't working towards it. And then I realized it was too externally influenced. It was too externally influenced by the YouTubers and my parents and society and everything. It wasn't what I genuinely wanted. So I had to go back to the drawing board and I had to make one again, and now I'm just enjoying the hard work even more. Your vision should get you excited, hyped up. Literally, when you visualize it, you'll be like, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to put in the work. That's what should happen. When you think about it, all great men were visionaries. The Prophet ﷺ, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, may Allah be pleased with all of them. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, Salahuddin Ayyubi rahimahullah, Socrates, Aristotle, Marcus Aurelius, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Every single great person who has ever done something in history was a visionary. Think of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. He had a vision. A vision to spread Islam across Arabia, the entirety of Arabia, and demolish the ill practices of paganism and idol worship. That was his goal for the 23 years that he lived as a prophet. Now you may argue that what is the point of a vision if Allah Azza wa Jal has already written every single thing that's going to happen for us in our lives? He's willed everything for us and our end goal is Jannah. What's the point of a vision? To this, the answer is what Hamza Zorti says.
Think big because Allah is greater. Think about this. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater than anything you can perceive and imagine. Since Allah is greater and everything happens because of His qudra, His power, and His irada and His will, then we can't impose limitations on ourselves as if we know what the will of Allah is for our lives. How dare we? Allah has the picture. We just have a pixel, if that. So these limitations are really shaitan using your own voice against you to say, you know, I can't think that big because who am I? You look at your previous limited experiences. This is all against the Islamic perspective because everything happens because of the will and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we don't know how that's going to manifest itself. So what should that create? That should create a new realm of possibility for you to achieve whatever you can without those self-imposed limitations. And this is why when you have Allah in mind, it will free you from the shackles of your own limitations from that perspective. So think big, have a vision, brothers and sisters.
You don't know Allah's will. You don't know what He's going to will for you. You have no idea of what He's written for you. The only thing that you can do is to dream big, have ambitious goals, and then just do everything you can to accomplish them. Because what if that is your will? You don't know. So the only way you're going to find out is by actually trying. If you fail, قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ مَا شَاءَ فَعَلَ. If you don't, then you've just won. And when it comes to our vision being Jannah, yes, that is true. Our end goal is paradise. That's it. That's simple. But you need a vision in order to become the type of person who is capable of even getting into paradise. If you don't pray 5 times per day, then you need to become the type of person who prays 5 times per day. So that can be a part of your vision. You need to become the person who studies the Quran, tries to implement it in their life. Who studies the Sunnah, tries to implement it in their life. That is a result of having a vision, because once you have that vision, then you will try to become that type of person. And that will help you get into Jannah, inshallah. So how in the world do you actually construct a vision? What is the process of doing so? The way I did it was that I grabbed a journal and I became a mad scientist. As Dan Ko says, I literally wrote down everything I wanted to achieve in my life, the person who I wanted to become, in excruciating detail, within the next 5 to 10 years. If Allah Azza wa Jalla lets you live for the next 5 to 10 years, or even more than that, how much knowledge do you want to have gained? How much of the Quran do you want to have memorized? How much money do you want to be making? How do you want to look like? Where do you want to be living? What traits do you want to have? What mindset do you want to have? What habits do you want to have built? How do you carry yourself? Are you present? Do you have passion for your work? How is your health? Are you still hitting hard workouts? Are you married? Remember, the goal for this entire thing, this entire process, is simply to achieve clarity. Because the reason you aren't doing anything with your life right now, and the reason that you don't enjoy the work right now, is simply because you don't have clarity on what to do. And once you have a vision, we're going to break it down, reverse engineer, and then you're going to figure out, oh yeah, this is what I should do. And that's going to give you the clarity that you need to take action. So once you've written this 5 to 10 year vision, now it's time to deconstruct. Deconstruct this into a 6 to 12 month vision. So what are the most important things that you need to achieve within the next 6 to 12 months to work towards your goal? I'll give my example. In my 5 to 10 year vision, I'm more of an intellectual person who knows Islamic knowledge, who knows contemporary knowledge, who knows history, etc., etc. And therefore, the traits that I need are discipline, focus, being able to persevere. And also, I want to be able to have good character, be stoic, not react on every small thing. So those were the biggest traits I needed to start developing from now if I want to achieve that in the future. And ironically, within the past few weeks, I was struggling with scrolling, not reading enough, not being so disciplined, not being stoic at all, just lashing out and just letting my emotions take over. So these were my biggest weak points. The weak points that I had to start working on from now if I want to see progress within the next 5 to 10 years. So I constructed a version of myself who is disciplined, focused, reads a lot, does not scroll, does not waste his time on cheap dopamine, etc., etc. And that was my 6 to 12 month vision. That is the person who I want to become within the next 6 to 12 months. Because as I said, these were the biggest weaknesses that I had to start working on from now. So identify the weaknesses that you need to fix right now in order to become the person that you want to become within the next 5 to 10 years. And based upon those weaknesses, you create a 6 to 12 month vision. As Hamza says, make this vision reasonably unreasonable. Now once you have the vision, once you've written everything out, it's time to actually construct it into something that you can use daily as a reminder. And that is to create a storyboard. A storyboard where you have a few images that represent your vision and a small text on top, a small box of text that says all the character traits you have once you become that person. So here's an example. Number 2, enjoying your work. This goes without saying, if you actually want to work hard, if you want to do the work, then obviously you need to enjoy your work. And I was having a conversation about this with a friend. He was considering becoming a chartered accountant simply because of the money itself. But he was doubting whether he could get through 3 years of studying chartered accountancy. And I asked him, I was like, is it truly worth it if your life becomes miserable? Because you're not going to want to wake up, you're not going to want to do the work if you don't enjoy it. Dead simple. The guy who's in it for the money versus the guy who's in it just because it's fun. Who do you think will win? Obviously the guy who's in it for fun, because he's going to put in more hours, he's going to be in a flow state, and he's just going to want to improve overall. Versus the guy who's just in it for the money. He's always going to do the bare minimum. Always. And that leaves him with a higher chance of just getting fired or not making it at all. For example, if I work a 9 to 5 sales job, and I genuinely enjoy sales, I love it. It puts me into a flow state. It's interesting. I just want to give it my all. So I'm over here versus a guy who hates sales, but he's in it because, oh, sales is a good way to make money. And he works a 9 to 5 with me. When you look at our days, I would work in a 9 to 5. He would work in a 9 to 5. Both of us would clock in 8 hours. But I would be much more productive and I would get much more done during those 8 hours simply because I'm in a flow state and I enjoy the arts of sales. And after I would go home, I would learn more about sales just because I enjoy the arts itself. But this guy, he hates sales, right? So 9 to 5 would be a drag for him. And when he would go home, he'd crash. He'd play video games, he'd do whatever else, but everything else besides sales because he does not enjoy the thing. After a year, 2 years, 3 years, I would be 10 times, 20 times ahead of this guy if he would still be in that company. Simply because of one deciding factor, work enjoyment. If you enjoy your work, you will obviously trump any other person who does not enjoy their work. Why do you think Mr. Beast is at the top? He has been doing YouTube for 14 years and the only thing he thinks about, loves, cares, everything is YouTube. No wonder he's made it on top. Now obviously you cannot control all the factors here. If you hate university, but you still have to go, then so be it. You can deal with that. But what I mean here is the work that you choose to do. For example, if you want to have some sort of a side hustle or side project or some sort of a outlet, creative outlet, and you hate it, that is something that is within your control and you can change it. I'll give you my example. Before this, I was on LinkedIn. I was writing posts on LinkedIn. I was trying to build up this agency of ghostwriting and whatnot on LinkedIn, but I hated the work itself. And when I transitioned over to YouTube, that's when I truly started to enjoy things. I truly started to put in more hours, put in more work, and I started to enjoy the work itself. Imagine if Mark Cuban makes a YouTube short and he says, I'm going to randomly choose one person in the comments to give $1 billion to. And you comment and you win that. You literally win $1 billion. Just close your eyes and imagine yourself winning $1 billion. The money, the constraint of money has been lifted off of you pretty much for your entire life. Yeah, sure, you would go travel, you do this, you do that, but what would be the thing that you would like to do? What would genuinely be the thing that you would enjoy doing? Just imagine the constraint of money has been lifted off. What are you spending your days doing? When I did this, I saw myself sitting in the kitchen on a MacBook scripting a YouTube video. I kid you not, this is exactly what I saw, and that's when I knew YouTube is the right move, because I'm in it for life. I'm in it for as long as either I live or as long as YouTube lives. So choose work that you would genuinely do, even if you had $1 billion. Then watch how hard you work on it. Number 3, cheap dopamine. Thing is, dopamine can either be earned from difficult things or easy things. That's already been established, right? So what if you cut out all the easy things so that you only get dopamine from the hard things? Things like working out, working on your side hustle, doing college work, seeking knowledge, reading difficult books, trying to understand the Quran. As you start to do these harder, difficult things and cut out all the easy things, your brain will start to form connections. Connections that would say, oh, the only time I'm going to get dopamine is if I work hard, so I better work hard even more. And therefore, you're going to start enjoying the hard work even more. This right here is key. The first two are great and all, but if you can't do this, then you're not going to enjoy the hard work, doing the work as much as you possibly could. In fact, this is exactly what I did. I constructed a vision. I chose work that I genuinely enjoyed, and I cut out all cheap dopamine, scrolling, playing video games, etc., etc. And I started to work harder than ever, simply because it became fun. So I know it's difficult to quit cheap dopamine, but the way that I did it was simply by cutting out all bad habits, 100% of bad habits for 7 days, and implementing all the good habits for 7 days. I kid you not, this is exactly what I did. And at first, it sucked. I absolutely hated it, but as those 7 days went by, I enjoyed it so much more. And it genuinely became the highlight of my day. Just imagine a world where you enjoy working hard. Just imagine the things that you could possibly accomplish. So I called this 7 days of pain, where in essence, you just completely cut out all the bad habits, you add in all the good habits, a painful amount of the good habits. So for example, reading 40 pages a day, that is painful, so go ahead and read 40 pages a day. You do that for 7 days, and by the end of it, you're just naturally going to get into the flow of doing the good habits even more and more, because you're going to enjoy them much, much more than doing any bad habits. I made 2 videos on this that you can check out. Link is in the description, but I highly recommend you give this a shot. I genuinely recommend you give this a shot because it worked for me. What's stopping it from working for you? Combining these 3 things is exactly how I started to enjoy hard work and enjoy doing the work so much more. And I hope this works for you. That being said, I will see you in the next video, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.